Welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast. Auntie Wemi is here with us again this morning. Wemi Moadebi, cognitive behavior counselor. She prefers to make it therapist because Nigerians don't like the word therapy. Is right here. And we're celebrating the boy child. It's International Day of the Boy Child. It was yesterday. And a lot of people were saying, boys, there's International Day for us too. Mm-hmm. Yes, boldly, there is. It's not just girls all the time. And we're looking at how to keep our boys safe today on the Bumper Breakfast. Good morning, Auntie Wemi. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm very well. Happy to be here.
I thought you were going to dress like a boy since we're talking about boys.
I was actually supposed to, but
I would have loved to see no jewelry, first cap, And today you're sitting like this, like, what's up, man? What's up? Good to have you here.
Yeah.
So yesterday was International Day of the Boy Child, and it was one of the first ones that people actually heard about across Nigeria here. Is it new?
Well, it's not new, but it just shows the kind of perception and the place the boy child occupies in the hearts of people, basically. So I think that's just how I can explain it. It's not new. It's always been on the calendar. It's an international thing.
Yes.
Okay, and we just believe the boy child is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
it's fine.
Okay, so but I think with the way things are unfolding, and we're beginning to see that the boy child is also a child. He's a human being. He is a gender of preference too, and then he's a special gender, a weak, a strong, and a special one for that matter.
May 16th is the day set aside by the entire world to celebrate the boy child. Mm-hmm. Every day on the 16th of May, the International Boy Child Day is observed. This is the day the entire world focuses on boys and their needs. The question is, why have we not been celebrating it in Nigeria? We answer that. What has not been celebrating it done to us as a people?
Okay, not celebrating it. Okay, it has not created enough awareness of the peculiarity of that gender. Okay, the only awareness we have seems to be stereotyped. Mm-hmm. Now we believe it's only the female folks that are boxed. Okay, but if you look at it critically, the female folk is very well empowered. Okay, there is attention on us. There is education for us. Okay, there is empowerment for us. There is training. There's some form of concession for us, and then we are tagged the weaker vessels. So because of that peculiarity, attention seems to be on us, has always been on us. So the male folks, especially the boy child, there is a mind, there's this mentality of the strong one, the energetic one, the one that should
is the sporty one.
Okay, the one that knows
bears
what
the pain
he's
more.
doing, the one that is macho, the one that is okay, so we're not actually empowering them. We're not focusing on them, and yet we are placing demand on them to perform. So we're beginning to see that a lot of boys, let me use that word, are not performing, okay, up to expectation, because we have not put anything in them, and yet we are placing the demand on them. So there is nothing like garbage in. So
it's not garbage in, garbage out. This time around it's just garbage out.
You just
garbage out.
Them to give you the preferable behavior, the preferable result, without having to create a platform for them, without putting options, choices, to be fortified onto them. So there is nothing the boy child falls back on.
So it's more like we're saying that it's the boy child and not the male child. Boy child, International
talking the
Day
boy
of
child,
the
yeah.
boy child, not the male child. All right. So it looks as if as we keep demanding from the boys, these boys grow into men, into young men, into older men, into elderly men.
Yeah.
And then you see an elderly man in, say, 60s, 70s, telling you he feels lost. He feels drained.
Yeah.
He feels, he feels,
It feels empty.
basically.
You see a lot of juvenile behaviors, delinquency behavior we're dealing with today. Okay, it's in the bit of the boy child to fill a void. Okay, although statistics is showing us that we are having more girls, okay, going into the juvenile delinquency in these days. Now, boys are now dragging girls into that world because they are empty. They need to prove a point. And the only way the boy child knows to prove a point is to throw tantrums. At whatever age, let's look at the toddlers and the younger middle age. Then when he's able to master the throwing of tantrums with nobody, looking in between the lines, say, there's something you are saying that you are not saying. Okay? And then somebody steps in. He matures into developing it as a way of life. And when he gets to a certain stage, his real person cannot hold it. Then he will need drugs to continue with that way of life. He will need sexual activities to continue with it. He will need to drag girls. And that's why you are seeing the issues we have in the society today. If we could focus on the boy child as much as we are focusing on the girl child, we will have a balanced society to some extent where one will watch after the other and the other one will not keep dragging the other into a world of delinquency.
Brings me to the story of the boys who over time have been battered simply for juvenile behavior.
Yeah.
And they do say he's supposed to know better. Parents keep saying he's supposed to know better. If you've been to any of the homes, the juvenile centers here in the city of Lagos, there is one just at Isheri, Olowora end. There is one at Ojota, Oregun Junction, just by Kudirata Biola Way. And if you listen to some of those boys, if you see after government has done a bit of rehabilitation, you see them, they are calmer, you see, and they say, what is stubborn you? That's why they brought him there. The other one, they say, he's always beating his siblings. Some are there for very flimsy reasons. Some are there because they lost their parents. Some are there because they were supposed to be, they committed a crime unconsciously. Some, were forced into criminal activities because they just needed some measure of validation, some measure of care. Is the society fair? Are parents fair to the boy child? We have parts of the country where they say their girls are more important than their boys because they get to sell their girls when they are come of age and they get to collect a very big bride price. When is the boy, they say, fend for yourself. Once it's 10, it begins to follow the boys at the book.
Push them out. Now, let me put it this way. The society is not fair generally on children. Okay? But the male gender, the boy child, okay, is really, really at the disadvantage. Now, we know that the girl child seems to be more susceptible, but there is the ability to be resilient much more in the girl child. A girl child could be undergoing abuse and still roll with life. A boy child doesn't have the capacity to cope. He's going to break down. He's going to give in to other vices just to cover up for that void. And that's why, when we're talking about how do we then identify an abused child, especially the boy child, especially sexual abuse, A lot of people do not know that boys are also being sexually abused. You know, if you have a group of boys and have a group of girls, the first thing is you want to tell them, and don't let the boy touch you. Who's telling the boy child
not to
girls
allow another
also
boy
to touch you
or another girl should not touch
we
you?
have had situations where it's housemaids who defile boy child, okay, and they teach them how to be sexually active without the knowledge of the parents, or the society sees, and then somebody takes the eyes away.
Yeah.
So nobody is looking in that direction too. Statistics used to tell us that 1 in 4 boys, okay, will be sexually abused, but the number is growing. So it's now 2 in 4 boys. And in fact, I would say 4 in 4 boys, all of them. All right, but that would be an exaggeration. But I just want us to look at things from the critical perspective. You don't underrate the safety of the boy child against or above that of the girl child. They are both humans, they are both children, and they both need the same type of cover if you must cover them.
We've been talking about the signs and the needs of a boy child because May 16th we celebrated the International Day of the Boy Child across the world. A lot of people went online and, people just said, what are they talking about? Boosting optimism and restoring self-worth. Somebody was sharing a story with me last week who runs a boy foundation, and Boys' Lives Matter. And she said to me, see, because when the story broke out, she interviewed the 3 boys, and she came and she said to me, see, you didn't ask about the follow-up of those boys. This 21-year-old boy is 18 or 17-year-old brother, and like the 14 or thereabouts, I can't remember the ages now, of the 3 boys were abused by their pastor. Anybody who's familiar with that story, there was a time the story broke out, I think sometime last year or early this year, and the pastor wasn't just abusing them by sleeping with them, sodomizing them. It actually was inserting objects inside of them.
So this is what people don't understand.
In the name of fortifying them, in the name of making them. And the question everyone kept asking, including the owner of Boys' Lives Matter Foundation, she said the question she kept asking is, at 21? At 21?
Let me tell you that it didn't begin.
Of course, it began when he was younger.
There would have been a journey. There was a particular time when those boys must have been exposed to abuse, okay, and it became a normal thing.
In fact, they said the pastor had brought him up. Then when the brother told him to start bringing his brother, because the parents always ask them, report them to the pastor, and the pastor was supposed to be helping to tutor them, helping to psychologically or spiritually rearrange their lives.
Whether is the pastor, whether is imam, whether is the teacher, whether is whatever, we need to tell the boy child that abuse is real, especially sexual, and anyone could abuse you. And you need to also let them know ways by which they could be abused, and let them know the signs to look out for when someone is about to abuse them or when someone does this to them. We don't tell them. We only talk to the girl child because we believe they are the ones who have all the baggages, physical baggages that someone could easily grab. Okay, the boy child goes through a lot. Okay, when you talk about sodomizing a child, it's usually meted against the boy child, and sodomy is worse than any. Abuse, sexual abuse is very horrible, but sodomy is worse. You don't want to imagine it. And it's usually the boy child that goes through things like this. So how do we then know? You are seeing a well put together boy, okay, well shaped, smelling good, but you are not aware that there is a monster in this person. that was created by another person. That boy child or the monster we do not see wasn't born a monster. Okay, something, an experience, an abusive situation turned him into that. But the truth is, it's always good for it not to have happened, and it's always good for it to have, for the boy child to get to be saved, let me use that word, before he escapes into the time when he masters it. Because the moment he masters it, I'm telling you, there's little or nothing
that can be
able
done
to do
about it. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. We've been speaking with Auntie Wemi. As she will round off the segment, I want Auntie Wemi to tell us and tell parents who are watching us this morning, if your child or you find out your child has been sodomized, abused sexually, your boy child, what are the steps they must take?
Usually, children rarely tell, especially the boy child. But there are two ways, okay? It's either through their behavior or their confession. Now, behavior, they can't hide it. Confession, they may hide it, based on the environment and relationship you may have created with them. So, when you talk about the behavior, okay, you have to look out for, depending on the age. It could be still be bedwetting when he's not supposed to. It could be playing with his penis and other children's under whatever, and even adults, because I have dealt with a child that likes to go to check on adult, and they're like, he's just being a child. No, but the truth is somebody exposed him to that. Okay, you look out for that, or you just look at they exhibit this regressive behavior. Okay, those are signs to look out for. Or you actually look out for rashes in the private area. Because nowadays we are beginning to see that children now have STI. It's not just adults, because it's adults who give it to them or children who give it to children. So it's coming from somewhere. Or when the child is always itching, difficulty in peeing in once in a while, or the person is clingy to a particular person or runs away from someone. Those are the signs you look out for. Or when they change their language and they are so
maybe aggressive.
The language is just unnecessarily too high for the age of that child. Then you probe further. Now, after probing, and then you discover it, what do? You don't beat that child. Because I've heard a situation where a parent pounced on the child and was beating the child. You don't beat that child. That's where a lot of parents
get it wrong.
Get it all wrong.
And they say,
That one is even better. But at times it does feel the child is already this and this and that. But the truth is, you have to look for ways to bring the child over to your side, and then let the child talk to you, because children know who do things to them. They know the person. Let the child talk to you, or take the child to the hospital to confirm and establish some things. Okay, the doctor's report, you take it to the police station. You must work with the doctor and the police to establish it. Then the police know what to do. Yeah, our Nigerian police are not as bad as people project them. They still know what to do. They know how to go about it. Okay, or if you are in Lagos State, you walk into the DSR, domestic sexual violence response team.
DRSTV.
Yes.
VT.
It allows here. You tell them, go with your proofs.
DSRVT.
And all of that. And if you think you cannot go through all those routes, carry that child. Take the child to that place.
They will do everything.
What to do. But don't ever keep quiet about it. Don't beat the child. And even when you discover who the person is, don't go to accuse the person, because the person might, run away.
Yeah.
Just gather your information, because it's something that a lot of parents don't know how to handle. You don't handle it emotionally, you will lose the matter. Okay, because you may do something that will be turned against you, and the attention will be away from the
From the
abuse,
abuse.
and move on you being
the abuser. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. I'm sure parents are educated about this topic today, and I hope that this will change someone's behavior towards their own boy child. I hope parents would also improve on the way we deal with our boys. Auntie Wemi, it's always a pleasure having you. We're talking next about driving in the city of Lagos, and in Nigeria particularly. How do Nigerians drive? What can be made better? Where does road rage come from? We'll be back with that after this break.
If you disrespect me, I'll give it back to you.
Again, you are not like that.
How dare you?
I don't like it. When you are wrong, I will tell you are wrong.
And you tell me you're going to slap me again, I will lose it with you.
Sorry, mommy.
The book that you're talking about, how much have you made from the book?
Am I the drama? Oh, girl.
To watch The Real Housewives of Lagos,